okay?
I hit a log straight on, and it just, I managed to catch it with the part of the body you should never hit a log with, and literally knocked the wind out of me considerably.
You okay to stand? Come on, let me take this pack. On three. Come on, 2, 3. Careful.
It's a lucky escape. It could have been much worse. 2 hours after starting down the chute, the exhausted group reaches the bottom. They've descended over 1,000 feet. Now, there's no going back. The temperature has been climbing all day. It's touching 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
How comes it's so hot?
It's gotta be a freak thing. It'll be cooler tomorrow.
In fact, a freak heat wave has hit the canyon. The temperature's heading for 108 degrees, much hotter than anyone expected.
Lauren had been the year before, and it was hot, but not 110 degrees hot, you know, not cook you alive hot.
We had anticipated that the temperature would be in the 90s. 90-degree weather would have been bad enough.
And the route down offers no protection from the ferocious sun.
This is when we realized that we don't have any shade. We're not going to have any shade from now on.
There's nowhere to hide. It's constantly beating down on you.
That's just draining us and dehydrating us.
Just a day into the hike, things are beginning to go badly wrong.
We were alarmed that we were going through the water as fast as we were.
In the searing heat, they've already gone through 3/4 of their water. The only place they're going to get more is the Colorado River. But it's over 2,000 feet down, and they're still a day and a half's hard hiking away. In this heat, they'll run out long before they get there.
As we were hiking, that's all we could think about was the river, of getting to the river.
But the boys are about to find out that blistering heat isn't the only hazard they face.
Dave, don't move. You got a scorpion on your back.
One sting could immobilize David.
Hold still.
Careful. You think it could kill you?
I don't know. I don't really want to find out.
It's a reminder of just how hostile the canyon is. As well as scorpions, there are thousands of rattlesnakes. Stepping on one would be all too easy. And getting bitten out here miles from medical help could be fatal.
Come on, let's go.
That afternoon, the temperature tops 108 degrees. By 7 that evening, they've had enough.
Okay, guys, this is it for the night.
We were really exhausted. We were just grateful to be off of our feet. We were grateful to have the sun down off of us.
David does his best to keep his friends' morale up.
Hey, guys! Guys, come here. You can see the river. It's miles away, Dave.
When I first saw the river, all I could think was, that is still very, very far away. So it was really worrisome to me that it was so hot and that I was running low on water.
Just think about running in that river and drinking pints of icy water. A couple of hours in the morning and we'll be there.
In fact, they're still a tough day's hike from the river, and their water is almost gone.
We begin to say, gee whiz, am I going to be able to make it down to the river tomorrow? Have I got enough water?
Their obsession with every drop of water is becoming overwhelming.
Hey, Jordan. Don't let it boil. It's a waste.
Just gonna heat it a little. Hey, George, they're much better dry. They're nutritious and delicious. It's like having loads of little worms in your mouth, just wriggling about.
I'm not hungry.
Come on, Mark. You gotta eat something.
I thought it was odd that I wasn't hungry after all that work all day. I don't know if that's some kind of side effect of dehydration or not. Definitely that night I was starting to feel a little shocked and surprised that something I thought would be so fun was starting to turn into something that was so scary and so worrisome to me. And I felt like I had started to lose control of the situation that I was in.
Dave,
Yeah?
are we gonna get through this?
Come on. We'll get up early before the sun gets down on us. By the afternoon, we'll be at the river.
I'm gonna stay there all afternoon.
Before sunup. That's when we need to get going.
Like David, Jordan is convinced there's only one way to avoid being cooked by the sun again.
We knew that we had to get up early. We knew that we had to beat the sun, that if we didn't, we knew that we would be in trouble.
They've never experienced anything like it.
It's very hard to explain how loud it can get. You can't even talk to someone who's right next to you by screaming. That's the only way I can describe how loud it was.
The Amazon rainforest in Brazil. It's one of the last great wilderness areas, home to the largest variety of insects, birds, and mammals in the world. For Dave Boyer and Crystal Ramsey, it's the trip of a lifetime.
Can you believe it? We're actually here in the Amazon.
Hey, you know when I make a promise, I keep it.
It's the realization of a dream they shared 2 years ago when they were a couple.
Crystal and I dated for about 3 years, and really were the closest you could possibly be. One day we were talking about our passions, and I asked her the question, if you could go any one place in the world, where would that be?
And the Amazon was number one for both of us.
Dave and Crystal aren't together anymore, but they are still close friends.
There was no one I would have rather gone with than him.
Dave and Crystal set off in the morning with enough water for a 3-hour hike.
We left just before 10 o'clock and expected to be back in time for a late lunch. We had tunnel vision. We were focused on one thing, and that was exploring and seeing the rainforest. We were oblivious to any dangers that were involved.
They are so absorbed by the sights and sounds of the forest, they don't notice that they've stepped off the marked trail.
Our awareness was elsewhere. It was on the trees, on the animals, on the sounds.
The map Dave left behind was a hand-drawn sketch of the area. He clearly remembers it showing the lodge at the bottom, which would normally indicate that it lies to their south. But the map isn't laid out in the usual way. To get back to the lodge, they actually need to head north.
If we head south, that should take us back.
You're sure?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Okay.
Come on, let's go.
Hiking south is the worst decision Dave could make. Ahead, there lies nothing but thousands of miles of rainforest. Uninhabited, except for rainforest creatures, many of them highly dangerous.
If we'd been walking in the right direction for this long, we would have...
I know.
I don't think he wanted to deal with it. He didn't want to deal with even having to think about sleeping out there.
I was frustrated at myself. I felt responsible for getting us lost and felt responsible for finding the way back.
Chris, I am so sorry about this.
It's okay. You buy me a beer when we get back, and we'll call it even. Okay?
Okay.
But they both know how vulnerable they really are. The rainforest is teeming with nocturnal predators.
A lot of the poisonous snakes, they wander through the forest at night. The jaguar comes out at night. You don't have a lot of choices of protection.
Dave and Crystal share a single thought. Can they make it through the night alive?
Chris, there's something out there.
Dave and Crystal have survived the night unscathed. Almost.
I'm covered in mosquito bites.
Be grateful that's all that bit you.
Very funny.
So, what's the plan?
Well,
Dave needs to get them back to the lodge fast. Crystal's on medication for her depression, and he knows she doesn't have her drugs with her. By mid-afternoon, Dave is resorting to a new desperate tactic in his search for the lodge.
I was trying to keep us in the same area of where we got lost in, kind of zigzagging back and forth, hoping to stumble upon the trail.
let's try over there.
Crystal was starting to get a little bit frustrated with that strategy.
Dave was literally almost walking in circles and didn't realize that that's what he was doing.
Crystal is starting to feel the pressure.
My brain was saying, things are going downhill.
As darkness falls, they realize they must endure another night.
I was tired. I had not slept on the previous night. I was being driven insane by the mosquitoes. They were constantly biting me, making our bodies itch, and we would scratch it to the point where our bodies would start bleeding.
The next day, they're still heading in the wrong direction, getting even further away from the area where rescuers are searching for them.
I thought that it would be nice, it might even be comforting if we had some type of shelter. So we came up with the idea of making a teepee.
Excellent.
Yeah. It was drawing us closer together. She told me that if I was as I was while we were lost, if we had always had that relationship in that past year, that we would still be together, that she saw all the things that she had fallen in love with in the first place.
It looks good.
We were trying to get our minds off of what we were going through, and we got even closer.
My feelings had not changed since the day I met her. I was still in love with her. I still wanted her to be in my life and with me forever.
But Dave couldn't be more wrong. A massive tropical thunderstorm is building in the skies above them, and it's about to put them in the greatest danger yet. They've never experienced anything like it.
It's very hard to explain how loud it can get. You can't even talk to someone who's right next to you by screaming. That's the only way I can describe how loud it was.
They are soaked within seconds.
It was the coldest I had ever been. Couldn't stop. My body was just going into convulsions and shaking, and my teeth were chattering.
Any hope of sleep is gone. Their terrible night leaves both of them exhausted and miserable. But it's pushed Crystal close to the edge.
I think my own mind was more dangerous than anything that the jungle had.
All I had was a companion, and she was what kept me going. I needed her as much as she needed me to make it through this, and I could not drag her the entire time.
24 hours later, Dave and Crystal's situation is bleaker than ever. They are still hopelessly lost. And as their 5th night approaches, it's Dave who's struggling. Drained by lack of sleep and the effort of keeping Crystal going, he desperately needs rest.
Dave was exhausted. I was very worried about him, but there was nothing I could do to make him sleep.
I could not get a grip. I could not get control of what I really needed, and that was to get to sleep.
In his totally exhausted state, the insects soon become an obsession.
The only way to get me through that night was to find a way to keep moving, keep myself occupied.
Dave is beginning to lose his grip on reality.
I felt like I had lost this battle between me and the mosquitoes, between me and the night, between me and any sleep that I might get.
For the first time, Dave thinks they might not make it out of the Amazon alive. He begins to search for water to wash himself.
As we fought through some of the underbrush, when we got down there, there wasn't a creek, there wasn't a puddle. There was a flooded forest. Everywhere that we could see, there was water.
It's a glimmer of hope, just enough to keep them going.
This water's gotta lead somewhere.
In the Amazon, rivers are like roads. If this water leads to a river, they might just spot a boat. They put aside thoughts of suicide.
I got this surge of energy and some anger that made me want to fight through the water even more.
As we were going through the flooded forest, we kept telling each other, don't talk about any hopes, just go, and go as fast as you can.
Dave, look!
I thought to myself, I've got to be hallucinating.
I said, David, am I really seeing that? You know, is that really real? And he said it was.
Hey! 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 Hey!
He didn't wave back at us. It seemed like he was miles away. We immediately just started screaming, help, 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 help me, please.
Here! We're here! Help!
And he didn't respond.
Help!
we learned in one split second that we were gonna live. I was screaming and crying and just definitely the best moment I've ever had in my life.
The sense of time was kind of messed up for me. But as I'm sitting there freezing to death and trying to stay alive, you can't help but think that we may have been a lot better off going golfing that weekend.
Okay. I remember feeling a shift in his movement and believing he was going to jump to the floor because it really wasn't that far. I let go.
And the next thing I know, I'm basically falling.
Justin!
I knew without a doubt I had just broken my leg, and all I could do was scream. It was the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life.
Just stop screaming, you gotta calm down!
I had never quite heard someone scream in pain like that. It was a really helpless feeling to hear him scream like that in pain and not be able to do anything for him.
Just take it easy, bro! Stop, get up and help me! Take it out of the water! Come on!
And I could really feel how bad he was hurt. It was very obvious that that there were things in places where they shouldn't be.
It's really bad, Justin.
Justin's shin bone is shattered in 6 places. Internal bleeding is already restricting blood flow to other parts of his body. They don't know it, but this injury could kill him.
Okay. What time is it?
I remember thinking that my brother has an artificial hip. He can't carry me out. I can't walk out. I can't crawl out, and I'm stuck here.
We're gonna get through this. You think? We can make it.
If I was gonna get out of there, it was gonna be up to Jeremy.
That was really hard to be the one to take charge, because forever before, he was the person that I would look to when I didn't know what to do.
4-5 hour check back to the car.
When I looked in Jeremy's eyes, I could tell just how scared he was.
Really bad. You got maybe an hour of light.
I was gonna leave him there and hike out, which is really hard to do, for the fact that, one, it's my brother that I know and love very much, and 2, that real soon I'm gonna be by myself.
Okay, you're gonna have to move me. Up against the wall, out of the wind. You ready? Okay, just do it, do it!
I think both of us knew just how serious of a situation we were in.
Justin's in real danger. Between his injured leg and the freezing temperatures, his chances of survival decrease with every passing hour. Jeremy needs to move on. It's another 4 miles to the side canyon exit, and the light is fading fast.
That's the side canyon there, right?
I'll just crow's nest it up here, double time it back to the car, call for help.
Just take it one step at a time. How you feeling?
Good, considering I've never been this scared.
When we started divvying things out and going through the backpack, we came across my camera. And one of the last things that we did was take a picture of each other, because I remember saying, well, we better take a picture of each other if we don't ever see each other again.
I thought that maybe I might never see him again. And those things, yeah, those things go through your head.
Remember what I was saying about you being my least favorite brother?
I never liked you much either.
Hey, chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think the hike's going so far? Be careful.
Okay.
I could see him for a while before he went out of sight. And I remember telling him, think happy thoughts. And you can do it.
According to the trail notes, Jeremy should be out of the canyon in 4 hours. But so far, the route has proven more difficult and far slower than expected.
I think we were both pretty confident that I was going to be out soon and I could call someone and we'd get him out of that canyon. Had no idea what was really going to happen.
But Jeremy can't find the side turning that will lead him back out of the canyon to the car. And he's running out of daylight.
When it went from light to dark, it was so hard to conceive how far I'd gone, but I kept thinking that I had gone too far. And I ran into pools. And lots of them. At that point, I didn't have a choice whether I was going to get wet or not. What I was looking for was the last canyon that would take me back to near where we started. And I had these trail notes in a pocket on the side of my leg, which was open. It was unzipped and didn't realize that. I looked down and watched water wash into that pocket and wash my trail notes out. It's so murky and so muddy, you can't see anything in it. But just probing through the water with my hands, trying to find it, I couldn't find it. So I continued on.
It's been 5 hours since Jeremy left his brother, and there's still no sign of the side canyon.
The sense of time was kind of messed up for me. But as I'm sitting there freezing to death and trying to stay alive, you can't help but think that we may have been a lot better off going golfing that weekend. And then I hear little scratching noises, what sounds like something's fidgeting around. And it's completely dark and I can't see anything.
Hey. What are you doing down here?
As soon as I located this little guy, it was kind of great to have somebody there with me, even if it was a little mouse.
A nut? A raisin? A freeze-dried banana? Get some of that in here. Yeah, you look like a nut kind of guy to me. Oh, personally, I prefer the raisins.
We kind of became pals there for a little while. And then he scurried off. I was almost sad to see him go.
I think that calls for a spot of celebratory lunch. Right over there, a nice bit of shade by those trees.
Sounds good to me.
What's the time?
There was no warning.
Zambia, one of the wildest countries in Africa, home to the spectacular Victoria Falls. They are fed by the mighty Zambezi River, which divides Zambia from Zimbabwe. It's here on one of the river's most isolated stretches that two friends have planned a weekend fishing trip. Arthur Taylor and Alistair Gallatley have known each other for over 25 years.
Our kids have grown up together with Alistair. Basically, Alistair's part of the family. He's a very good guy in a crisis and a very good friend.
We've known each other a while. We've spent a lot of time together.
Joining them are Arthur's English wife, Faye, and her parents, Clive and Brenda. They're retired teachers visiting from England.
Change your mind yet?
No, I think I'll just stay here and relax and read my book. Go on.
Okay, all aboard.
This is one of the river's most remote stretches.
The Zambezi is just a fantastic river. It's amazing, and it is so diverse.
Most of them are in herds or groups, and then you get the few odd single males. As long as you give them a wide berth, the chances are you're not going to have any problem.
Oh, I think I've got something here. Heavy. Oh.
Fishing had been pretty poor that morning, and when Mum caught a fish, it was like, yay, you know. I mean, she's really chuffed.
Well done, Mum.
I think that calls for a spot of celebratory lunch. Right over there, nice bit of shade by those trees.
Sounds good to me.
What's the time?
There was no warning.
Come on. He's coming.
The Zambezi is famous for its unpredictable and deceptively strong currents. Many people drown in its eddies and whirlpools every year.
The one thing that I thought of was the fact that my children could have been with me and that I would have lost them because they would have been just thrown out of the boat.
The boat has become snagged in the middle of the river. Clive and Alistair are able to cling onto it while the current drags the others downstream.
Clive and I, we couldn't do much. We sat on the front of the boat and we watched them.
I had no idea where we were going. All I knew was that we were being swept away.
The current was really, really strong and it was just sweeping us down. We were trying to make our way to shallow waters. We knew it was our only hope of survival.
Luckily, the current actually took us towards the middle of the river, which was slightly shallower.
It's a sandbag.
From his position on the boat, Alistair assesses the situation. The group's chances of being rescued on this remote stretch of the river are slim. He knows that every year, hundreds of people die of crocodile attacks on the Zambezi. As the only single man in the group,
Arthur!
he takes a calculated risk.
I'm going to swim to that bank and get help. Don't risk it up.
went under the water just to try to see where the croc was. As I started to go towards the croc, it came for me.
The savage attack has broken Alistair's arm in 3 places. His shoulder joint has been ripped from its socket.
I was pretty scared I was going into shock. I was very weak. I lost a lot of blood.
All he can do to stem the blood loss is to make a tourniquet. Clive is still stranded in the middle of the river. And now the boat is beginning to sink.
Can't stay there. He left us onto it.
Dad! You're gonna have to come over to us.
I know.
My dad had no choice but to swim, because if the boat went down in the night, then he would just disappear. He wouldn't have stood a chance.
Brenda!
It was just such an awful experience to watch, and terrifying, not knowing at any moment.
Greg! Keep at it!
I can't tell you what a relief that was.
On shore, only a few hundred yards away, Alistair's agony is intensifying. His wound is becoming a poisonous time bomb.
I had nothing to wash it out with properly. The arm was full of rubbish.
Alistair knows that bacteria from the crocodile's bite will have entered his bloodstream. Untreated, he could easily lose his arm to gangrene.
Gangrene is pretty serious. A friend of mine, he got chewed by a lion. You know, he got to hospital within 8 hours, but he still lost his leg.
Too weak to move. If the gangrene doesn't get Alistair, the predators might.
We shouted across at him until the sun started going down. And then the hyenas started calling.
When the sun went down, we all decided not to call to Alistair. If he had called back to us, it would have just alerted any predator within range that Alistair was there.
Night is the most dangerous time in the African bush. Leopards, lions, and hyenas can detect the scent of blood from several miles away.
I could hear the lions calling and the hyenas, but when they stop, you don't know where they are, because you don't know if they come in your direction or going away. I thought I could be in for a tough night. I just got these stones together so that if something did come up that night, I could at least throw a rock at it.
When the daylight finally came, it was just such a sense of relief because we had made it through the night. That we had worried that Alistair had bled to death. I mean, we had no idea what had happened to him and how badly injured he was. That was such a terrible feeling because you always think of the worst. And physically and mentally, we were just exhausted.
After almost 20 hours stranded in the water, the group are desperate.
We were thinking, well, you know, it's another day and somebody has got to come.
On the river, his friends can do nothing but await their fate.
Canoes.
Amanda, just dance.
I can see them there. There.
Incredibly, some canoeists have ventured this far down the river.
They'd seen us and they thought, well, what strange people fishing in the middle of the river. I can't tell you how that felt, really. I mean, it was just a sense of relief. We were going to be all right. It was also still worry for Alistair. We hadn't heard from Alistair for several hours.
Eventually, the couple across the river spotted Alistair. They took him to safety, where he was reunited with the others. Despite his terrible injuries, surgeons were able to save Alistair's arm.
I remember thinking that my brother has an artificial hip. He can't carry me out. I can't walk out. I can't crawl out, and I'm stuck here.
Southern Utah. This iconic western landscape is the result of 25 million years of sandstone erosion, which have left deep canyons littered with boulders and pools of freezing water. It's harsh and uninhabited, which is exactly why it appeals to experienced canyoneers like Justin and Jeremy Harris.
Jeremy and I have shared a lot of experiences as we grew up as brothers.
Justin's always been an icon to me. He's always been someone that I looked up to.
Canyoneering is a passion that the brothers have shared since they were 7 years old.
We can share things that brothers don't very often get time to share.
Hey, little brother, wake up.
What time is it?
Time to go.
It had been a while since we'd been out on a hike, and November was, you know, it was a little later than we wanted to go.
It's freezing. We both had done quite a bit of winter hiking, so it wasn't something that was foreign to us, but it's definitely something that's going to complicate matters.
You sure you're up for this today?
I thought about that question, and I think, yeah, maybe part of me as his older brother thought that I needed to make the final say.
Yeah, are you? Yeah, I'm up for it. You drove all this way, right?
I didn't get too concerned about the pace that we were making until we got to the rappel.
Is this it? That's it.
The drop is too steep just to scramble down. They'll need to use ropes.
It was a good drop.
It wasn't something that you would survive if you fell from.
See? It's nothing to worry about.
I'm not worried. A little terrified, maybe. Not worried.
You'll be fine.
Now the weather, which has been deteriorating all day, takes a dramatic turn for the worse.
You think this canyon has something against us, do you?
Yeah, I think it might just.
It was a very tricky down climb, even though it wasn't far. There were very few handholds and very few places to stand on the way down.
And footing was a little slippery because of the snow.
Justin!
I knew without a doubt I had just broken my leg, and all I could do was scream. It was the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life.
It's really bad, Justin.
Justin's shin bone is shattered in 6 places. Internal bleeding is already restricting blood flow to other parts of his body. They don't know it, but this injury could kill him.
Okay. What time is it?
I remember thinking that my brother has an artificial hip. He can't carry me out. I can't walk out. I can't crawl out, and I'm stuck here.
We're gonna get through this.
You think?
We're gonna make
If I was gonna get out of there, it was gonna be up to Jeremy.
That was really hard to be the one to take charge, because forever before, he was the person that I would look to when I didn't know what to do.
According to the trail notes, Jeremy should be out of the canyon in 4 hours. But so far, the route has proven more difficult and far slower than expected.
I think we were both pretty confident that I was going to be out soon and I could call someone and we'd get him out of that canyon.
Jeremy should have been out of the canyon by now, but in the dark and without trail notes, he has missed the side canyon exit. Now his every step takes him further away from civilization and any hope of rescue for his brother.
April 5th, 2000. Mackenzie Susan Harris.
Mackenzie Susan Harris. May 1st, 1995.
Skylar Christopher Harris. December 3rd. Trisha Harris.
I got stuck, and all of a sudden I realized that one of my worst fears is happening, that I might be starting to lose grip on the situation. And that really scared me. And so as painful as it was, I pretty much forced myself to stand up and endure some pain to try and get my system in check. Pain would just shot right up in through my nerves, right up into my knee. It was terrible, but it woke me up.
Jeremy has now been climbing through the canyon for over 24 hours. He's exhausted, but driven on by a single thought: to get back to his brother.
Climbing up and taking so much energy, getting part of the way or most of the way up. I had never felt so drained. It was extremely hard to climb. Some of the hardest things that I've ever had to climb up in my life.
Jeremy? Jeremy!
I'm thinking about my brother out there somewhere, and I'm picturing him frozen somewhere because it's too cold and he just can't make it. And I'm starting to lose hope. And I started to think that maybe he was dead.
But as Justin struggles with his fears, miles down the canyon, Jeremy is suddenly confronted by his terrible mistake. He stumbles across the side canyon exit. Disoriented by the darkness, he simply missed it the night before.
It was so obvious. I can't conceive how I would have missed it, other than just the state of mind that I was in. I definitely should have seen it.
Jeremy may be out of the main canyon, but he cannot find the trail back to his camp, and in just 2 hours the sun will set. At the bottom of the canyon, Justin's battle for survival has become one of sheer will and faith in his brother.
I knew he would do everything that he possibly could to get out of that canyon and to get help in for me. I knew he wouldn't give up, no matter what.
It's really hard to convey to someone how exhausted I was. I'd gone so far beyond what I had imagined my limits were. I wasn't sure whether I should believe that it was really there or not. And I approached it, and it really was. I hadn't really even thought about my own physical condition. I was a wreck, and kind of amazed at the fact that I was even alive.
As the sun rises after a second night exposed to sub-zero temperatures, and with no idea if his brother is alive or dead, Justin knows he cannot survive much longer.
Hello? Hello? Oh! Hey.
And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see a face pop around this boulder. And I think we were probably both pretty surprised to see each other.
Chester, we see you. He's right over there. Base, we found him.
And it was like, you know, they're here. They made it. They made it down. It was wonderful.
Jeremy and Justin are finally reunited in hospital in Salt Lake City.
And I remember thinking, he's just gonna go into surgery and they're gonna fix his leg. And he's gonna be just fine, and that's far from the truth.
Justin spent 90 days in the hospital and endured 13 operations. Despite all their efforts, the doctors were unable to save his leg.
It was too much to bear. I still felt so guilty.
Jeremy and I lived through something that we shouldn't have, and the experience of going through that with someone is powerful.
I think just being born of the same mother doesn't make you brothers, and the term brother is a very sacred term to me, and Justin's definitely my brother.
Suddenly, Blake comes face to face with a grizzly bear. specially chartered plane has dropped Blake Stanfield and his father Neil in a remote Alaskan wilderness 60 miles from the nearest settlement.
How's the raft coming? We're almost there. Good. Get the coffee on.
Neil runs a building management firm, and Blake is a doctor. They'd taken leave to spend some time together.
My father and I started backpacking when I was a young boy. I always ended up loving that. He taught me to appreciate the outdoors.
Better get going, Dad. Just checking everything's shipshape. Where in the world did I put that lighter?
I got it.
Very repellent. Extra strength. Very repellent.
Almost anywhere in Alaska, you're going to run into many different types of wildlife, which includes bear, and of course, that's something that you always need to be prepared for.
The gates of the Arctic National Park is spectacular but dangerous. It's home to hundreds of black bears and grizzlies, not to mention roaming packs of wolves. It's 13,000 square miles of near untouched wilderness. For 6 months of the year, the rivers are choked with ice. During the summer, it all melts, but this early in the season, some patches have yet to thaw.
We're going too fast, Blake! It's going down there!
It was sheer panic at the time, and it happened so quickly that there wasn't much time at all to think. The next thing I actually remember was being pulled right underneath the ice.
There was so little time to realize what had happened, except that it was a real problem. And the second ice shelf had no room to breathe.
I really thought I had taken my last breath. My father and I both ended up with a lot of abrasions to the top of our heads because we kept trying to come up to the air that we were hoping was there. I've never thought of a worse way of dying than drowning, and was certainly thinking that that is how I was going to die. After being under that water for what seemed like an eternity, I just remember popping out, taking in a nice big breath of air. At this time, I had no idea where my father was. He had been pushed up against something and trapped.
Oh my God, you're freezing.
We gotta get you dry. It's okay, Dad. You're gonna be okay. All right?
Neil's wet clothes are making his temperature fall even faster.
It's okay.
Basically, while this fire got started, I hugged him and tried to give him some of the warmth that I had. Eventually got him to where he wasn't shaking anymore.
The freezing water has drained Neil's strength. He's 65 years old and still feeling the effects of an accident 12 months ago that left him with a broken ankle.
Blake! Can we just hold up here a minute? You're not even trying to find a place to stop.
Oh, sorry, Dad. I just got carried away.
There's no way we're just walking out of here. We're gonna have to find a good campsite and stay put. How agreed?
All right.
Their ordeal has left Neil and Blake battered and bruised. Now they have to contend with the cold.
We got enough wood?
Yeah, we got lots. You get closer to the fire. I'm warm enough. There.
My father and I took turns laying towards the front of the shelter where the fire was.
Try and get some sleep, okay?
Yeah. And then whoever was laying in back would bear hug the person in front.
Sleeping won't be easy. It's summer and the sun barely dips below the horizon. But during the few hours of darkness, the temperature can still get close to freezing. During the night, Blake has made a tough decision.
Well, I needed to get back to Bettles. I needed to go find help.
The #1 rule of survival is stick together. But Blake knows his dad isn't up to the hike.
Dad? You okay?
Yeah. Pretty sore, though. You slept?
Not so much, no.
You know, I've been thinking, we gotta get ourselves organized. We gotta build up a nice big pile of firewood, maybe make some traps. We're gonna need some food.
I'm going for help, Dad.
Help? From where?
Blake had no doubt given it a lot of thought and decided that he could conquer this problem and hike back to Bettles.
We're on our own, Dad. No one's coming. I'm telling you not to go.
Leaving him alone was a hard decision, but I think he knew I was stubborn because I inherited that from him.
You're really going, aren't you?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm really going. Because if I don't, we're gonna die here, Dad.
You're gonna need the knife. And the lighter. Now what about the bears? You saw all those tracks.
Well, you got the fire. That should keep them away.
I meant you, son. What about the bears?
I love you, Dad.
Yeah. Me too. Well, you know I do.
I'm gonna come back, Dad.
I hit myself. Tree up. See what
Suddenly, Blake comes face to face with a grizzly bear.
A grizzly can tear your head off with one bite. But their claws can rip holes through you like nobody's business, so you don't want to mess with them. I certainly sent the adrenaline through my body when I saw him.
Blake daren't make a sound. The bear's too close.
It was scary seeing him out there. He wasn't far enough away for my liking.
The bear hasn't spotted him, but grizzlies have a sense of smell 100 times more powerful than a human and can pick up the scent of prey from more than 2 miles away. But Blake's in luck. He's downwind of the bear, and his scent is carried in the opposite direction. But the wind could change. He risks making a run for it. Now Neil faces his first night alone in a wilderness bristling with predators.
As everyone knows, you try to make noise in the wild with where bears are present. You know, I said a lot of stupid things in order to make noise, and One of them was, I'm the king of this valley. Everyone who lives here at my pleasure.
You want to see me, you have to go through my nights. Blake, where are you?
Around 6 or 7 in the evening on Tuesday, I was laying over by my fire when I heard the sound of an airplane. And my God, he was coming up on me quick, I could tell. I ran as fast as I could.
Hey! 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 Hey!
I realized that he spotted me. He'd spotted me. That was the same plane, and as they flew over me, they dropped a bag of stuff.
The bag contains supplies and a walkie-talkie.
I turned that radio on. I kind of told him what had happened.
There's only one thought on Blake's mind.
Please hurry! You gotta go find my dad! He's 15 miles upstream. There'll be a fire going. You'll see a fire.
The pilot launches an aerial search for Neil. Three hours later, a rescue helicopter picks up Blake and rushes to the scene.
Neil! Neil, you okay?
How did you know I was here?
I asked your son.
Blake?
He climbed in that helicopter.
Dad! I'm so sorry, Dad. So sorry.
Hell, all I could say was, man, you look like hell.
Well, you don't look that cute yourself.
Even for experienced climbers, this would be a dangerous descent. But Mark has no ropes and has never rock climbed in his life. After camping out for a night close to the Grand Canyon's north rim, 5 Boy Scouts from Utah are about to make their very first descent to the bottom of the canyon. 3 of the boys are close friends.
Is that bacon? Yeah.
15-year-old Mark Coons has been a scout for 4 years.
Could have done with some of that this morning.
I was saving it for big breakfast tomorrow.
Scouting was really a big thing for me. I'm an Eagle Scout, which is the highest rank in the Boy Scouting program, and so it's meant a lot in my life.
Mark is friends with Jordan Weiniger, who goes to the same high school in Bountiful, Utah.
Every one of us boys, we'd grown up in the same neighborhood, gone to school together, and so we were excited to spend some time to bond and to have fun with each other.
It's the biggest canyon on Earth, 18 miles wide and nearly a mile deep in parts. Its sheer size makes it one of the world's most extreme hiking environments.
That's where we're going. All the way.
Whoa. It's amazing. This place is incredible.
Yep, this is it, fellas. The big chute.
The chute is a rocky gully over a mile long, an extreme descent over boulders, loose rock, and gravel. Jordan immediately sees how tough this will be.
It was turning into a hike that, was getting a little more dangerous.
2 hours after starting down the chute, the exhausted group reaches the bottom. They've descended over 1,000 feet. Now, there's no going back. The temperature has been climbing all day. It's touching 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
How comes it's so hot?
It's gotta be a freak thing. It'll be cooler tomorrow.
In fact, a freak heat wave has hit the canyon. The temperature's heading for 108 degrees, much hotter than anyone expected.
Lauren had been the year before, and it was hot, but not 110 degrees hot, you know, not cook you alive hot.
We begin to say, gee whiz, am I going to be able to make it down to the river tomorrow? Have I got enough water?
Their obsession with every drop of water is becoming overwhelming.
Hey, Jordan, don't let it boil. It's a waste.
Just gonna heat it a little.
Hey, George, they're much better dry. They're nutritious and delicious. It's like having loads of little worms in your mouth, just wriggling about.
I'm not hungry.
Come on, Mark. You gotta eat something.
I thought it was odd that I wasn't hungry after all that work all day. I don't know if that's some kind of side effect of dehydration or not.
We knew that we had to get up early. We knew that we had to beat the sun, that if we didn't, we knew that we would be in trouble.
But by the time the exhausted group is ready to go, the day is already blisteringly hot.
I know that when we did begin hiking, I don't remember what time it was, but the sun was on us. It was hot.
Guy is struggling most in the unrelenting heat. He's fallen behind the rest of the group.
It was like being in an oven. I was physically exhausted.
Severe dehydration is putting Guy's body under intolerable pressure. Finally, it just gives out.
If you take a deep breath, you know, that sensation that you have where you can feel the oxygen going through your body, I couldn't do that. The best I could do is reach a shallow breath, basically.
Guy! I need some help up here! Can't you get down? I can't! I gotta take a break!
At that point, I began to really question whether I'd ever make it down to the river.
We need to keep going.
Look, we can't just leave him. There's some shade here. We'll sit in the shade and wait for him to catch up. We can't leave him behind.
But Jordan thinks that waiting for Guy could be a fatal mistake.
If we don't go now, we're all gonna die. I'm not just gonna sit here and wait and die.
When Lauren said we needed to wait for Guy, I was mad. I knew that if we didn't leave, that we would die.
What he needs is water. Let's get down to the river and get him some. Come on.
We gotta get down! Get some water! We're coming back! We're coming back with water! I look after the boys!
I had never heard a tone like that in anyone's voice before. That kind of fear or anything like that ever in my life. Just, it changes you when you hear something like that.
After 6 hours tough hiking, they're still a long way from the river. The temperature has climbed to a searing 112 degrees Fahrenheit. Dehydration and exhaustion are taking their toll.
Our bodies became weak very fast. Our pace that we were walking slowed down extremely.
For 71-year-old Lauren Pace, enough is enough.
Lauren, you okay? Don't fuss. I'm okay. I'm okay. Listen, guys. The sun is a killer. There's some shade here. We should wait till it's dark.
We need to go on.
You shouldn't travel in this heat.
We're going.
When we left Lauren and Earl under that rock in the shade, it didn't feel like even a decision at all. It was more like, we have to. I had no idea where I was going, and I'm not a mountaineer or anything like that. But I decided we can't stay here. I took my backpack and I chucked it off the cliff, you know, so I hoped that I was going to make it down to pick it up again.
Even for experienced climbers, this would be a dangerous descent. But Mark has no ropes and has never rock climbed in his life.
Hey! I can hear it! The river!
I couldn't do again. I think we were all amazed that we were still alive, I guess.
David was leaning against a tree, and I was like, hey, we're almost there, guys. And at that point, David collapsed.
David? Dave? You okay?
Me and Mark went over to him.
Dave.
And I remember seeing Dave's eyes roll back in his head, and his breathing is really jumpy.
Yes.
I got to the river, and I took my bottles and I was filling them up and drinking a little bit. And when I pulled up the water bottle, I could not believe it. I saw two big yellow rafts coming around the corner.
Hey! Hey, over here!
David, can you hear me?
What's more, the rafting party is made up of off-duty doctors and paramedics.
Let's get back down, let's get wet.
Seemed forever that they were working on him. Not knowing if he's gonna make it, not knowing if he'll die.
He's still hypothermic.
It was dark, so I can't really put a time on it, but somewhere around 10 that night, the one that said he was a doctor came over and said, "I'm sorry to inform you, but your friend has just passed away."
Sorry.
And it was a hard experience.
I think it really tore apart our hearts, knowing that our friend was gone.
This big mouth coming up and tearing into one of us. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I was really wanting to make a change in my life. And I thought, okay, this will be an adventure.
She's found a job working with marine researcher David Tomlinson, who spent almost 30 years studying the oceans.
I began diving in 1963 in the Bahamas. I'm very lucky to be able to study much of our oceans and see things that not a lot of people get a chance to see.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Stephen, Peter, this is Melissa.
Hey.
So you all set to see Kavachi?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Come on aboard.
But the anxiety just kept growing and growing.
Ooh. Come on in, the water's fantastic.
Then I got my gear on. I looked at the boatman and I said,
Here I go. Say a prayer for me.
and then I thought, well, why did I say that? The dive was completely different than anything I'd ever experienced. It was amazing. We started going through this white haze. It was quite dreamlike, and there were bubbles funneling up around us coming from the vents of Kavachi.
The volcano is out of sight beneath the divers, far deeper than they can safely descend. All they can see are clouds of sulfur dioxide rising towards them from below.
It was such an amazing celestial scene. It was just breathtaking.
We're behind you!
I remember thinking, oh, okay, that's no big deal. I was just looking forward to getting in the boat and putting a towel around myself. And then they didn't turn around.
They got the engines on. I can't hear us over the engines. Turn them off! Cut the engines! Turn it off! Hey!
I said, David, why aren't they turning around? And he couldn't answer that question.
You're yelling, you're screaming at the top of your voice. Why isn't he looking? We're here. Can't you see us?
The boatmen know the divers must be out of air by now. They expect to see them surface, but the dark sky has made the divers impossible to spot. All they can do is pray for rescue.
I still had faith that they would come back, ride over the waves like heroes and pluck us out of the water. But they didn't.
We are absolutely alone, miles away from land. I knew we were in trouble.
So do you think we could swim for it?
No. It's too far. They're gonna be looking for us down current. I think we should just stay put. Huh?
I said.
David and Melissa can only hope that help is on its way. But with each passing hour, they're getting more nervous.
In the Solomons, there's a phenomenal amount of sea life there. My biggest fear at that stage, I believe, was sharks.
I'd imagine them circling below us. This big mouth coming up and tearing into one of us.
What was that?
What?
Was that you?
What?
Something's on my leg. Ah! Get it off!
It's my gauge. It's my gauge.
Just get it off me!
I'm trying. Would you stop kicking? Look, there's nothing down there.
There's everything down there.
If there's anything dangerous down there.
Like sharks, you mean?
Yeah.
Just say it!
Yeah, and you keep kicking and splashing, they're sure as heck gonna come and check us out, right?
All I could think about was sharks. one nibble, one drop of blood in the water, and then we're gone.
The search parties have finally reached Kabachi, but they have no idea that David and Melissa have already drifted miles away in the current. They continue to search above the volcano. David was convinced they'd be found by 4 o'clock. Now it's almost 5. They're still 20 miles from land, and there's no sign of rescue.
It was very clear that David wanted to stay still. He didn't want to move. He wanted to conserve his energy. I remember turning around and just looking all around me and just seeing all this water. And then looking at the land again and thinking, there's no other option.
I really think we should try and swim.
David looked in my eyes and he knew at that point that there's no arguing. We're gonna start swimming.
Okay. Take it nice and easy, okay? No splashing. I'm gonna keep my hand underwater. You keep a lookout, okay? Nice and easy.
Okay. I remember him saying, let's just get very slowly, peacefully on the surface, just moseying through. There's no reason to bring attention to ourselves, and don't kick too hard because we'll just get exhausted.
With 30 years diving experience, David knows that splashing about on the surface creates its own risks.
I didn't want to become part of the food chain because having watched the oceans and observed what happens there my whole life, there was a pretty strong likelihood that some sharks would come up and have a good look at us. You're on edge, totally. It was not a good feeling, not at all.
While David keeps watch below the surface, Melissa scans above for any sign of danger.
You see these pointed gray waves, and then all of a sudden you think you see fins.
Here. What?
And so your mind plays tricks with you.
What?
Nothing. Sorry.
It was a constant battle to not let my imagination go.
But the dangers beneath the waves are not just in Melissa's mind.
Ow! Something bit me!
What? Where?
Oh,
What? Ow!
Then I looked in the water, and there were millions of these little globs, little translucent balls.
Oh, jellyfish! I look, they hurt. They're not gonna kill you, okay? Swim through.
We were swimming through countless amounts of them. We were getting stung all over the place. I remember trying to count the stings. I got up to 64. But then it all blended into one. It was just the zapping pain that was shooting through my entire body.
My lip is killing me.
my hands are on fire!
That's okay. I'll go down in about an hour. Are you okay to go on?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Desperate to escape the jellyfish, the divers splashed around on the surface. They've broken David's golden rule and become a magnet for predators.
As I'm looking around, I'm looking straight down, and I see this little dot coming.
I felt David, he pulled me to the right, abruptly.
David, what are you doing?
I pulled back, and he pulled me, and I'm like, what?
It was coming straight at me from the depths, literally, from what I could see, straight at my face.